Shalom and good morning. Today we are reading 2 Kings, chapter 22. Yoshiyahu was 8 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 31 years in Jerusalem. And his mother's name was Yedida, the daughter of Yahu of Baskath. And he did what was right in the eyes of Yahu'ah, and walked in all the ways of his father Dod. And he did not turn aside right or left. And it came to be in the 18th year of sovereign Yoshiyahu that the sovereign sent Shaphan the scribe, son of Yahu, son of Meshullam, to the house of Yahu'ah, saying, Go up to Yahu the high priest, and let him weigh the silver, which has been brought into the house of Yahu'ah, which the doorkeepers have gathered from the people. And let them give it into the hand of those doing the work, and who are the overseers in the house of Yahu'ah. And let them give it to those who are in the house of Yahu'ah doing the work, to strengthen the breach of the house, to the carpenters, and to the builders, and the stonemasons, and to buy timber and hewn stone to strengthen the house. However, let not the silver given into their hand be reckoned with them, for they are acting trustworthy. And Yahu the high priest said to Shaphan the scribe, I have found the book of the Torah in the house of Yahu'ah. And Yahu gave the book to Shaphan, and he read it. And Shaphan the scribe came to the sovereign, and brought the word to the sovereign again, saying, Your servants have gathered the silver that was found in the house, and has given it into the hand of those who do the work, who oversee the house of Yahu'ah. Excuse me. And Shaphan the scribe informed the sovereign, saying, Yahu the priest has given me a book. And Shaphan read it before the sovereign. And it came to be, when the sovereign heard the words of the book of the Torah, that he tore his garments. And the sovereign commanded Yahu the priest, and Hakam, son of Shaphan, and Akbor, son of Yahu, and Shaphan the scribe, and Yahu, a servant of the sovereign, saying, Go inquire of Yahu'ah for me, for the people and all of Yehudah, concerning the words of this book, and that has been found. For great is the wrath of Yahu'ah that is kindled against us, because our fathers have not obeyed the words of this book, to do according to all that is written concerning us. Then Yahu the priest, and Ahikam, and Akbor, and Shaphan, and Yahu went to Huldah the prophetess, the wife of Shallum, son of Tikwa, son of Harhas, keeper of the wardrobe. Now she was dwelling in Jerusalem in the second quarter, and they spoke with her. And she said to them, Thus said Yahu'ah, Eluah of Yashrael, Say to the man who sent you to me, Thus said Yahu'ah, See, I am bringing evil on this place and on its inhabitants. All the words of the book which the sovereign of Yehudah has read, because they have been forsaken me and burned incense to other mighty ones to provoke me with all the works of their hands. And so my wrath shall be kindled against this place and not be quenched. And to the sovereign of Yehudah, who sent you to inquire of Yahu'ah, say this to him. Thus said Yahu'ah, Eluah of Yashrael, As for the words which you have heard, because your heart was tender and you humbled yourself before Yahu'ah, when you heard what I spoke against this place and against its inhabitants, that they would become a ruin and a curse, and did tear your garments and wept before me. I also have heard, declares Yahu'ah, Therefore, see, I am gathering you to your fathers, and you shall be gathered to your burial site in peace, so that your eyes do not see all the evil I am bringing on this place. And they brought word to the sovereign. Chapter 23. And the sovereign sent, and they gathered all the elders of Yehudah in Jerusalem to him. And the sovereign went up to the house of Yahu'ah with all the men of Yehudah, and that all the inhabitants of Jerusalem with him, and the priests and the prophets and all the people, both small and great. And he read in their hearing all the words of the book of the covenant which had been found in the house of Yahu'ah. And the sovereign stood by the column and made a covenant before Yahu'ah to follow Yahu'ah and to guard his commands and his witnesses and his laws with all his heart and all his being, to establish the words of this covenant that were written in this book. And all the people stood to the covenant. Then the sovereign commanded Hilkiah the high priest, and the priest of the second order, and the doorkeepers to bring out of the Hekel of Yahu'ah all the objects that were made for Baal and for Asherah, and for all the hosts of the heavens. And he burned them outside Jerusalem in the fields of Kidron, and took their ashes to Beth-el. And he put down the black-robed priests, whom the sovereigns of Yehudah had appointed to burn incense on the high places in the cities of Yehudah, and in the places all around Jerusalem. And those who burned incense to Baal, to the sun, and to the moon, and to the constellations, and to all the host of the Shemayim. And he brought out the Asherah from the house of Yahu'ah to the Wadi Kidron outside Jerusalem, and burned it at the Wadi Kidron, and ground it to ashes, and threw its ashes on the burial site of the sons of the people. And he broke down the houses of the male cult prostitutes that were in the house of Yahu'ah, where the women wove tapestries for Asherah. And he brought all the priests from the cities of Yehudah and defiled the high places where the priests had burned incense, from Geba to Beersheba, and broke down the high places at the gates, which were at the entrance of the gate of Yahusha, the governor of the city, which were to the left of the city gate. However, the priests of the high places did not come up to the slaughter place of Yahu'ah in Jerusalem, but they ate unleavened bread among their brothers. And he defiled Topheth, which is in the valley of the son of Hinnom, so that no man could make his son or his daughter pass through the fire to Molech. And he did away with the horses that the sovereigns of Yehudah had given to the sun, at the entrance of the house of Yahu'ah, by the room of Nathan Melech, the eunuch, that were in the court, and he burned the chariots of the sun with fire. And the slaughter places that were on the roof of the upper room of Ahaz, which the sovereigns of Yehudah had made, and the slaughter places which Manasseh had made in the two courtyards of the house of Yahu'ah, the sovereign broke down, and rushed from there, and threw their dust into the Wadi Kidron. And the sovereign defiled the high places that were before Jerusalem, which were on the right hand of the mountain of destruction, which Shalomo, sovereign of Yashrael, built for Ashtaroth, the abomination of the Sidonians, and for Chemosh, the abomination of the Moabites, and for Milcom, the abomination of the children of Ammon. And he broke into pieces the pillars, and cut down the Asherim, and filled their places with the bones of men. And also the slaughter place that was at Beth-el, and the high place which Jeroboam son of Nebat made, by which he made Yashrael sin. Both that slaughter place and the high place he broke down, and he burned the high place, and ground it to dust, and burned the Asherah. Then Yashayahu turned, and he saw the burial sites that were there on the mountain, And he sent and took the bones out of the burial sites and burned them on the slaughter place, and defiled it according to the word of Yahuwah, which the man of Eluah proclaimed, who proclaimed these words. And he said, What tombstone is this that I see? And the men of the city said to him, It is the burial site of the man of Eluah who came from Yehuda and proclaimed these matters, which you have done against the slaughter place of Bethel. And he said, Let him alone. Let no one move his bones. So they left his bones alone with the bones of the prophet who came from Shamron. And Yashiyahu also took away all the houses of the high places that were in the cities of Shamron, which the sovereigns of Yashrael had made to provoke. And he did to them according to all the deeds he did to Bethel. And he slaughtered all the priests of the high places who were there on the slaughter places, and burned men's bones on them, and went back to Jerusalem. And the sovereign commanded all the people, saying, Prepare the Passah to Yahuwah your Eluah, as it is written in the book of the covenant. For such a Passah had not been prepared since the days of the rulers who ruled Yashrael, nor in all the days of the sovereigns of Yashrael and the sovereigns of Yehuda. But in the 18th year of sovereign Yoshiyahu, this Passah was prepared before Yahuwah in Jerusalem. And also Yoshiyahu put away those who consulted mediums and spirits and household mighty ones and idols, and all the abominations that were in the land of Yehuda and in Jerusalem, in order to establish the words of the Torah which were written in the book that Hilkiah the priest found in the house of Yahuwah. And before him there was no sovereign like him, who turned back to Yahuwah with all his heart, and with all his being, with all his might, according to all the Torah of Moshe, and after him none rose up like him. However, Yahuwah did not turn from the fierceness of his great wrath, with which his wrath burned against Yehuda, because of all the provocations with which Manasseh had provoked him. And Yahuwah said, Even Yehuda I shall remove from my presence, and I have removed Yashrael, and I shall reject this city, Jerusalem, which I have chosen, in the house of which I said, My name is there. And the rest of the acts of Yoshiyahu and all that he did, are they not written in the book of the annals of the sovereigns of Yehuda? In his days, Pharaoh Necho, sovereign of Mishram, went up against the sovereign of Ashur to the river Euphrates. And sovereign Yashiyahu went out to him, and he killed him at Megiddo when he saw him. And his servants conveyed his body in a chariot from Megiddo, and brought him to Jerusalem, and buried him in his own burial place. And the people of the land took Yeroahaz's son of Yashiyahu, and anointed him, and set him on the reign in his father's place. And Ahaz was 23 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 3 months in Jerusalem. And his mother's name was Hamulta, the daughter of Yeremiah of Libnah. And he did evil in the eyes of Yahuwah according to all that his fathers did. And Pharaoh Necho imprisoned him at Riblah in the land of Hamath, to keep him from reigning in Jerusalem. And he did impose, and he imposed on the land a fine of 100 talents of silver and a talent of gold. And Pharaoh Necho set up Eliakim, son of Yoshiyahu, to reign in place of his father Yoshiyahu, and changed his name to Yeroquim. And Pharaoh took Yahu'ah and went to Mishram, and he died there. And Yeroquim gave the silver and gold to Pharaoh. Only he taxed the land to give silver according to the mouth of Pharaoh. He exacted the silver and gold from the people of the land, from every one according to his assessment, to give it to Pharaoh Necho. And Yeroquim was 25 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 11 years in Jerusalem. And his mother's name was Zebedah, the daughter of Pedeo of Rumah. And he did evil in the eyes of Yahuwah according to all that his fathers did. Chapter 24. In his days, Nebuchadnezzar, sovereign of Babel, came up, and Jehoiakim became his servant for 3 years. And he turned and rebelled against him. And Yahuwah sent against him raiding bands of Kasdim, and raiding bands of Aram, and raiding bands of Moab, and raiding bands of the children of Ammon. And he sent them against Yehudah to destroy it, according to the word of Yahuwah which he had spoken by his servants the prophets. Only at the mouth of Yahuwah this came upon Yehudah to remove them from his presence, because of the sins of Manasseh, according to all that he did, and also because of the innocent blood that he shed. For he filled Jerusalem with innocent blood, which Yahuwah would not forgive. And the rest of the acts of Jehoiakim, and all that he did, are they not written in the book of the annals of the sovereigns of Yehudah? So Jehoiakim slept with his fathers, and Jehoiakim, his son, reigned in his place. And the sovereign of Misraim did not come out of his land again. For the sovereign of Babel had taken all that belonged to the sovereign of Misraim, from the Wadi to Misraim to the river of Euphrates. Jehoiakim was 18 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned in Jerusalem 3 months. And his mother's name was Nehushta, the daughter of Elnathan of Jerusalem. And he did evil in the eyes of Yahuwah according to all that his father did. And at the time the servants of Nebuchadnezzar, sovereign of Babel, came up against Jerusalem, that the city was besieged, and Nebuchadnezzar, sovereign of Babel, came against the city, and his servants were besieging it. Jehoiakim, sovereign of Yehudah, and his mother, and his servants, and his heads, and his eunuchs went out to the sovereign of Babel. And the sovereign of Babel, in the 8th year of his reign, took him prisoner. And he took from there all the treasures of the house of Yahuwah, and the treasures of the sovereign's house, and he cut in pieces all the objects of gold with Shalomo, sovereign of Yisrael, had made, in the hekel of Yahuwah, as Yahuwah had said. And he exiled all Jerusalem, and all the officers, and all the mighty brave men, 10,000 exiles, and all the craftsmen and smiths. None remained except the poorest people of the land. And he exiled Jehoiakim to Babel, and the sovereign's mother, and the sovereign's wives, and his eunuchs, and the leading men of the land he exiled from Jerusalem to Babel. And all the mighty brave men, 7,000, and craftsmen and smiths, 1,000, all who were strong and fit for battle. These the sovereign of Babel brought to Babel into exile. And the sovereign of Babel set up Mattanyahu, Jehoiakim's uncle, to reign in his place, and changed his name to Siddiqiyahu. And Siddiqiyahu was 21 years old when he began to reign. And he reigned 11 years in Jerusalem, and his mother's name was Hamultal, the daughter of Yirmiyahu of Libnah. And he did evil in the eyes of Yahuwah according to all that Jehoiakim did. For this took place in Jerusalem in Yehudah because of the displeasure of Yahuwah, until he had cast them out from his presence. And Siddiqiyahu rebelled against the sovereign of Babel. Chapter 25. And it came to be in the 9th year of his reign, in the 10th month of the 10th new month, that Nebuchadnezzar, sovereign of Babel, and his army came against Jerusalem and encamped against it, and they built a siege wall against it all around. And the city was besieged until the 11th year of sovereign Siddiqiyahu. By the 9th month, the scarcity of food had become so severe in the city that there was no food for the people of the land. Then the city wall was breached, And all the men of the battle fled at night by the way of the gate between two walls, which was by the sovereign's garden, even though the Chassidim were still encamped, all around against the city. And the sovereign went by the way of the desert plain. And the army of Chassidim pursued the sovereign and overtook him in a desert plain of Yarrow, and all his army was scattered from him. And they seized the sovereign and brought him up to the sovereign of Babel at Riblah, and they pronounced sentence on him. And they slew the sons of Siddiqiyahu before his eyes, and put out the eyes of Siddiqiyahu, and bound him with bronze shackles, and took him to Babel. And in the 5th new month of the 7th new month, which was the 19th year of sovereign Nebuchadnezzar, sovereign of Babel, Nebuzaradan, the chief of the guard, a servant of the sovereign of Babel, came to Jerusalem. And he burned the house of Yahu'ah and the house of the sovereign and all the houses of Jerusalem. Even every great house he burned with fire. And all the army of the Chassidim were with the chief of the guard, broke down the walls of Jerusalem all around. And Nebuzaradan, the chief of the guard, took into exile the rest of the people who were left in the city, and the deserters who deserted to the sovereign of Babel, with the rest of the multitude. But the chief of the guard left some of the poor of the land as vine dressers and farmers. And the bronze columns that were in the house of Yahu'ah, and the stands in the bronze sea that were in the house of Yahu'ah, the Chassidim broke into pieces, and took their bronze away to Babel. And they took the pots and the shovels and the snuffers and the ladles and all the bronze utensils the priests used in the service. And the chief of the guard took the fire holders and the basins, which were of solid gold and solid silver. The bronze of all the utensils was beyond measure. The 2 columns, the 1 sea, and the stands which Solomon had made for the house of Yahu'ah. The height of 1 column was 18 cubits, and the capital on it was of bronze. And the height of the capital was 3 cubits, and the network of the pomegranates all around the capital were of bronze. And the 2nd column was the same, with a network. And the chief of the guard took Sarayahu the chief priest, and Sephaniyahu the 2nd priest, and the 3 doorkeepers. And out of the city he took a certain eunuch who was appointed over the men of battle, and 5 men of those who saw the sovereign's face, who were found in the city, and the chief scribe of the armies who mustered the people of the land, and 60 men of the people of the land who were found in the city. And Nebuzaradan, chief of the guard, took them and made them go to the sovereign of Babel at Riblah. And the sovereign of Babel struck them and put them to death at Riblah in the land of Hamath. So he exiled Yehudah from its own land. And he appointed Gedaliah, son of Anakim, son of Shaphan, over the people who were left in the land of Yehudah, whom Nebuchadnezzar, sovereign of Babel, had left. And all the commanders of the armies, they and their men, heard that sovereign of Babel had appointed Gedaliah, and they came to Gedaliah at Mizpah, and even Yishmael, son of Nathaniah, and Jonathan, son of Karath, and Sarayahu, son of Tanhumeth the Netophalite, and Yahazaniah, the son of Mechanahite, they and their men. And Gedaliah swore to them and their men, and said to them, Do not be afraid of the servants of Chassidim. Dwell in their land, and serve the sovereign of Babel, and let it be well with you. And in the 7th new month, it came to be that Yishmael, son of Nathaniah, son of Elishama, of the seed of the reign, came with 10 men and struck Gedaliah that he died. And the Yehudim and the Chesedim who were with him at Mizpah. And all the people rose up, small and great, and the commanders of the armies, and went to Mitzrayim, for they were afraid of Kisdium. And it came to be in the 37th year of the exile of Jehoiakim, sovereign of Yehudah, in the 12th new month of the 27th of the new month, that Ewel Merodach, sovereign of Babel, in the year that he began to reign, released Jehoiakim, sovereign of Yehudah, from prison. And he spoke kindly to him, and set his throne above the throne of the sovereigns who were with him in Babel, and changed his prison garments, and he ate bread continually before the sovereign all the days of his life. And as his allowance, a continual allowance was given to him from the sovereign, a quota for each day in all the days of his life.